and games, and I was playing baseball, basketball, and football, and it was all pretty much year-round, and they were always supportive and taking me to all practices, games, and all the time. So had 4 other kids, so they're like, man, we got to figure out a way to get Timmy a car so we don't have to every day take him to every practice, multiple practices and games. And so we are a missionary family. We never had a lot of money, and so they went and searched, and they found a 1995 Ford Thunderbird for $600. And it worked some of the time. But I was so excited because I was like, yes, I actually am going to have a car that is sort of mine-ish. And I get this car and I drive it all the way through high school, all the way through college, and none of my teammates ever wanted to ride with me because there's like, Tebow, there's a 50-50 chance we get there, you know? That's how rare it actually worked. But I finished my time at the University of Florida. I got drafted by the Denver Broncos, and okay, 4 Broncos fans here. And I was so excited for a lot of reasons. One, to be able to go live out a dream, but also because I was like, yes, I'm going to be able to get a car that actually works. And so I'm practicing in Denver in OTAs, and I get a call from someone that some of you may have heard. His name is Richard Petty. And he's known as the king of NASCAR, one of the best drivers of all time. And he said, hey, Timmy, I heard about your car that doesn't work. I'm like, how the heck did you hear about my car that doesn't work? And he said, Timmy, I would love to do something for you. I'd love to do something nice for you. He said, any chance that I could send my team down to Gainesville, Florida to pick up that old car? And I'm like, well, it ain't going anywhere, so. That's not true. Actually, we were preparing to have it picked up and towed to be taken and torn apart, and so it was literally getting ready to picked up to be taken to be destroyed, on its way to destruction. And I said, yes, sir, that'll be totally fine. And so he sent his team down to Gainesville, Florida. They picked up the car. They took it back to North Carolina to all of his shops. He called me a few months later and he said, Timmy, whenever you get a free day, I'd love for you to fly to our shops. I want to show you something. Eventually I got a free day and I flew to North Carolina, and the king of NASCAR, Richard Petty, is taking me one by one and showing me all of his cars in his shops. And one by one they'd open a garage and he'd show me a masterpiece of a race car. And this one, I won this, and this race. And the next one, hey, I won this, and this race. And one by one, he's showing me all of these masterpieces of race cars that all have won incredible races. And finally, we get to the last garage, and he's like, all right, guys, open the garage. They open this garage, and it's this beautiful orange and blue race car. And he said, do you recognize that car? I said, no, sir. He said, well, you should, because it's your car. And I'm like, I'm not trying to call you a liar, but that ain't my car. And I think we have a photograph of the car. And to be honest, I have no idea who that lady is. I just found it on Google. So I would totally give her credit. You know, I was just trying to show you all a photograph, and she's in it. So, hey, ma'am. So I'm standing there looking at this car, and he said, hey, Timmy, why don't you go get in? So when the king of NASCAR tells you to go get in a car, you don't get in the driver's side. You get in the passenger side. So I walk around and I open the passenger door, and he said, no, Timmy, this is your car. You get in the driver's side. I'm like, okay. I walk around, and sure enough, then Richard Petty gets in the passenger side. And I'm like, oh, please, Lord, don't let me have to drive with him in the car. And so then he gets in the car, and I think we have a photograph of the two of us in the car. And so then he says, Timmy, how about we take it for a spin? How about you take it for a spin? I don't know how to drive a race car. And he's like, hey, why don't you just turn it on? And I look, and before you had like that, you had to turn it on and then like hit the brake like 12 times. And now it's a push to start. And I'm like, oh, this definitely ain't my car, you know? And I push it, it turns on, and it's just like, I have no idea what to do. And I said, Mr. Petty, Mr. King, sir, like, I have no idea how to drive a race car. He said, I know, but I do. And I know how to drive it because I built the car. and also, I built the course. So why don't you do this, Timmy? Why don't you keep your eyes on the road, and why don't you listen to my voice the whole time? And, I'm like, yes, Mr. King, sir. And so we start to drive, and I have no idea what I'm doing. And he's like, okay. Now, I need you to speed up. Now you got to get on the right-hand side. Now you got to turn. Speed up, slow down. Speed up. And I don't think I did very well, but no one died, and we made it all the way through. So I was kind of pumped about that. But I got back, and after I left, the king of NASCAR, Richard Petty, that day, I started to think about it. Man, this car was on its way to destruction, but the king showed up and took it from trash and turned it into a masterpiece of a race car. But do you know what else is really, really cool? The king wasn't like, hey, I know I took it from destruction, I turned it into a masterpiece, but now you're on your own. The king said, no, I'm going to get in with you. And you know those verses, Ephesians 2:8-9, that I just shared with you? Well, let's also remember Ephesians 2:10. For we are his masterpiece created in Christ Jesus. So God shows up, and not because of our works, because of his works. We go from old to new, lost to found, orphan to son or daughter. But he also isn't like, hey, now that I've done this for you, you're on your own. No, he said, I will be with you always, even to the end of the age. The king gets in the car, and he never leaves you. He's with you always.